So the UK and EU have agreed to delay Brexit until the 31st of October. Speaking after hours of talks at an emergency summit in Brussels, the President of the European Union, Donald Tusk, urged the UK not to waste any more time. We're looking at the front pages there, lots of speculation about Theresa May's leadership and what happens over the next few months. To make sense of this morning, I'm going to be joined by Jill Rutter from the Institute for Government. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning.
So we've got kind of two key dates, I suppose, October the 31st, and then there's this review in June. How does all this work?
So the review in June is basically a bit of a sop to the French president to make sure that we're not misbehaving, but it's also to make sure we actually do go ahead and hold those European Parliament elections.
Because President Macron was really quite keen on us having a shorter extension.
President Macron is very worried that he was playing a bit to his domestic audiences, who isn't. But President Macron was also a bit worried about the fact that, you saw those tweets last week from Jacob Rees-Mogg saying if we stay in, the UK could be a real pain in the neck in the EU, and they want to make clear we couldn't be a pain in the neck. They want to make sure we do go ahead and hold those European Parliament elections, because they know perfectly well that neither the Conservatives nor the Labour Party are very keen on those. The government set that in train last week. So we've got that first date of the June the 1st. We've got the date of October the 31st, but actually we've also got this provision in the treaty which says if Theresa May manages to get her withdrawal agreement through, that's a big if, that's what she's been trying to do since December after all, then we can leave on the first day of the month after we pass the withdrawal agreement. So Brexit could be any day, any first of the month until the 31st of October.
So Charlotte was looking at the front pages there, and lots of speculation about Theresa May's leadership and also about other questions that could be asked. So let's look at this timetable. Okay. A general election, a second referendum. Is there time for either?
So second referendum, if we follow the sort of strict processes set out in the legislation about how we do referendums, have proper consultation on the question, time to do all the designation of who fights it and things like that, then we could just about squeak it in. But we need to make our mind up pretty soon. So, because basically people reckon 22 weeks, the minimum to hold a sort of good referendum. So just squeak it in, but we need to get our act together incredibly fast. A general election, that takes, about 6 to 8 weeks. So we could squeak one of those in. Would it solve anything? Would it make any progress? Much bigger question. Quite difficult. Tory leadership election, that's sort of another, 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks or so.
Of course, we have the Conservative Party conference at the end of September as well, don't we?
That's right. Sort of first, end of September into the first week of October. Some thoughts about that, but obviously Theresa May said the deal I offered you was you pass my withdrawal agreement, let's get us out, and then I'll stand down for phase 2. What she's saying now, or seems to be saying now, is actually, you haven't passed my withdrawal agreement, so actually, that part of the deal's gone. I'm staying around. Interesting that, remember, that she can't be challenged under the normal Conservative rules until another date, December, the first anniversary of that failed challenge last year.
If the Tory party and the Labour Party agree a deal, and then the leadership changes of the Tory party, what happens in terms of power for the new Conservative leader in terms of being able to pick the deal that's been agreed apart?
So various things they can't do. If we've ratified the withdrawal agreement, that's an international treaty, we're still bound by that. So things like the Irish backstop, they would have to be breaking international law to say, sorry, we reject that. And that's quite a big thing to do, particularly when we want to do deals with loads of other people. So then there's the question, the Prime Minister could and appears to be offering to put lots of commitments into UK law. So she says, actually, I've got to introduce this thing called a withdrawal agreement bill to get this treaty ratified. I could add provisions to that. If she does that, then a new Tory leader would be able to get out of those, but only if they had a majority to repeal those bits of UK law.
There is so much to talk about. You're going to be with me throughout the morning. Thanks so much, Jill. Jill Rutter there from the Institute for Government.